In this video, I'll be showing you how to make these scrap fabric mushrooms. So you can work them into a garland or simply attach a string to hang on your tree as ornament. What you will need for this project is your fabric. I suggest a medium to lightweight quilter's cotton. All of the fabric I'm using here has been found secondhand, so keep an eye out at your thrift stores for this. You can also use leftover fabric that you have from quilts. Alright, so in addition to your fabric, you will also need some lace if you are adding that, or any trim that you are going to add to your mushrooms. I have this yarn I found at a thrift store. I don't know the composition of it, but this is what I have been using to attach the string to it, like this. This is optional. Then you will need your cutouts. So these are the general shapes of the mushrooms. Now keep in mind you will have a seam allowance when you stitch this together, and then the stem portion of the mushroom just gets inserted like that. So you can go ahead and trace those out on some paper. I do recommend that you fold it in half so they are symmetrical if you like that. The bottoms of my mushrooms are not symmetrical, and I chose to do that so that they had a more whimsical, natural look to them. Alright, you will also need some filling. I have some leftover polyfill from some projects. You can take this out of old pillows, or this is a great time to use your scrap yarn cut-offs if you crochet or knit, or your scrap fabric cut-offs. This is what I mean by your scrap yarn cut-offs and your scrap fabric cut-offs. I keep all of these to use in projects such as this. Alright, let's get started on this project. We will start by folding our fabric in half with the right sides facing, and keep in mind if your fabric has a certain direction to it that you want to maintain for your mushroom. So all you do now is simply cut around the shape. Alright, once you have your fabric pieces cut out, you can go ahead and stitching. Now the beauty of having them already right sides together is you can just start stitching. Now for the stem portion of the mushroom, you will not stitch across the top. You will leave this opening so we can stuff it. So you will just stitch along here and back up. Now for the mushroom top, we will start here, go around and stop here. Now for these ones, I have elected to add this lace trim on the bottom here. Now this is totally optional, but if you are going to add some sort of trim feature, you will want to add that before you stitch your mushrooms together. So you will just go ahead and lay this out and cut it to the length that you need. Then this will get basted on to this piece before we close in the mushroom top. Alright, so you'll take the piece of your mushroom top that you want to be the front. As you can see, the lace is on the front, not the reverse side. So pick whichever one. There you go. Now we will base this on. So you will have the right side facing up, and then put your lace trim with right side facing the right side of your piece, and you will base it on so the trim is facing upwards, so that way when we finish it off it will flip downwards. So just use a long stitch length and baste that to the bottom edge of the mushroom within the seam allowance. I am using a pretty small seam allowance for these, about a 1/4 inch. Alright, so that is stitched on there now. Now we can go ahead and put these right sides facing, tucking in the lace like this, and then we will stitch around, leaving an opening here. Now that this is sewn together, you can set it aside. What I did want to mention though was you can stitch the loop into this as you are stitching around here. You would just have this on the inside, but I will show you how to attach this afterwards if you have forgotten like me. Now we can move on to the base of the mushroom. So again, starting and stopping at the top so that we can stuff it. And I'm not being too perfect about this either. I want them to look really handmade and really unique. Okay, now we can flip these right side out and begin stuffing. Now at this point you can press this if you like, but it's definitely not needed. You just want to make sure that those corners are turned out. Now, how full you stuff it is completely up to you and how you want these to look. I have opted for a less stuffed look, but that's, again, I'll leave that up to you and what you decide to do. So this is how the mushroom base is looking. Now you'll do the same thing, stuffing the top here. Once you're happy with how full these are, how much they're stuffed, then we can go ahead and feed the base into the top here through that hole. So you'll just tuck it in like this. Okay, so the stem has been fed in through there. Then you'll want to make sure that this fabric is folded under so there are no raw edges on either side. Then you'll go ahead and just run a stitching line there along here to close that. And there we have it. That is the stuffed mushroom. Now let's add the loop at the top. So I like to go in the top here along the stitching line and loop in along the seam. There we go. And then just do a knot at the top. Right. So that is one way you can do it, as I mentioned. The other way would be feeding it through the stitching line. So there are the stuffed mushroom ornaments or garlands. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you could like, subscribe, or share the video. Have a wonderful day.